23,
Hold.
page.
Start over. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Lesson 23, page 137. Our starter problem is a soccer one. Go ahead and read it, Mrs. Nutter. You're on the right page.
Shannon stood at the end of a 100-meter long soccer field and kicked the ball to her teammate. She kicked it 20 meters. The commentator said she kicked it a quarter of the way down the field. Is that true? If not, what fraction should the commentator have said? Prove your answer by using a number line. Okay.
All right.
So 100 meters.
100 meters, kicked it 20 meters, said that was a quarter of the way. Draw a number line, show it. So if she's right or not. All right. So our number line, we got 0, we got 100. She kicked it 20, 40, 60, 80. She kicked it that far. Is that 1/4 of the way? Let's see, how many pieces do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 5 pieces. And it would be 1/5. So 1/5 of the way. So the commentator was not correct by saying it was a quarter of the way. A quarter of the way would have been what, Mrs. Nutter?
25.
25. So just a little off there. Today with our lesson, it is reviewing a lot of what we covered on the last lesson. So we're not going to spend much time teaching it. We'll do the first problems together, and then I'll kind of let you just do the rest on your own because it looks like it's mostly review. Turn to this page where it's got a number line of 1, 2, and 3. And it says you need to have a red colored pencil and a blue colored pencil. Of course, find any colored pencils you can find just so you can represent one being red and one being blue. All right, hopefully you got your colored pencils. Let's get started. Mrs. Nutter, will you read number 1 for me?
On the number line above, use a red-colored pencil to divide each whole into fourths and label each fraction above the line. Okay? So
All right.
each whole divided into fourths.
So go ahead and break it into fourths. And write the number fraction. Did they say above it?
Yep.
Yep, above it. So go ahead and do that with fourths. So this would be 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. 5, 6, 7. All right. So fourths, it should look like that. Okay. Now, number 2, Mrs. Nutter.
On the number line above, use a blue-colored pencil to divide each whole into eighths and label each fraction below the line.
All right, so now we need to break it into eighths. So in between every little space, half of a fourth would be an eighth. So in between every space, you're going to put a line. All the way. Now it's broken into 8 pieces between 0 and 1. And go ahead and label it. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, which would be a half. 5/8, 6, 7, 8. And I'm not going to waste time doing the rest of that right now. It would take me a while. Let's look at number 3. List the fractions that name the same place on the number line. So you're going to find some. I didn't completely finish mine where you're going to have them represent the same amount. And we did that the other day. You remember when we circled it big like this? 1/4 equals 2/8. So go ahead and write that on in your space there. Our next one looks like 2/4 equals 4/8. They're both a half. Our next one, and there's a pattern. These are equal. They don't have one for the next one. Next one, they're equal. So it won't be 1 there. This one would be equal, 6/8, and so forth. So you'd have quite a few of them that would be equal on that problem. Go ahead and figure out all the ones that are equal.
Every fourth is going to be equal to at least
To both of
one.
them. Yep, good. Yep. And number 4 says, using your number line to help, what red fractions and what blue fractions would be equal to 7 halves. Draw the part of the number line below that would include these fractions and label it. So we need to find 7 halves. Now we need to break this thing into halves. Right here would be 1 half. Right here would be 2 halves, 3 halves, 4 halves, 5 halves, 6 halves. What they want? 7 halves?
7 halves.
Oh, we need to extend it.
Extend it another half.
There's 4, and we had to have 7 halves right there. But do they need to see what eighths that would be, or what were they asking? Oh, they
Just
want
one.
both. They want both. So what fourth would it be? Yeah. So I broke it into fourths in between 3 and 4. This would be 13 fourths. Looks like it would be 14 fourths. So 7 halves is equal to 14 fourths. All right. And then on the eighths, this would be 16 eighths.
24.
24 eighths. So if 3 would be 24 eighths, this would be, ooh, I gotta break it into eighths, don't I? So this would be 25 eighths, 26 eighths, 27, 28. So it would be 28 eighths. So all of those are equal.
Cool.
So 7 halves equals 4 14ths equals 28 eighths.
Moving on, number 5, write 2 different fractions for the dot on the number line. You may use halves, thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths, or eighths.
All right. So the first thing you need to do on problems like these is how many pieces is it broken into? And that will be your denominator or your bottom number. So we've got 0, 1. So how many pieces is it broken into? 1, 2, 3. So obviously it's thirds. So I'm going to use thirds for the top part. Okay. And now how can I break that up? I'm not going to use fourths. I'm going to use sixes because 3 times 2 is 6. Makes it a lot easier. So this would be 1 6, 2 6, 3 6, 4 6, 5 6, and 6 6. So I broke that into sixes. Now you need to see what are equal, and you'll use one example to the right. I got 3 of them that are equal. I could go 1/3.
It wants to know where the dot is.
Oh, my fault.
And that
There's a dot.
is, yep. You're
So
right.
it is the 1/3 one. So they want to know this one. 1/3 equals 2 6.
Good.
These are also equivalent, just don't have a dot on it. Okay? So I'm going to let you go ahead and do the next 3 on there. Looks like you'll be using fourths for quite a few of them. For the next 2, you'll use fourths, and I recommend using eighths as well, so you'll have to add that. And then at the last number line there, it looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and fifths. That one might be the tricky one, but I'm sure you'll be able to get it. All right. Number 6.
Mm-hmm. Cameron and Terrence plan to run in the city race on Saturday. Cameron has decided that he will divide his race into 3 equal parts and will stop to rest after running 2 of them. So 3 equal parts, stop to rest after 2.
All right, so let's draw that real quick. So he's running the race. That'll be our number line. And he's going to stop in 3 places.
Okay.
And he's going to stop at number 2, correct?
Yep, after running 2 of them. He divides his race into 6 equal parts.
Okay. So 6, pretty easy.
And will stop and rest after running 2 of them. Oh, sorry, this is Terrence. I'm confusing you. Cameron stops after 2/3.
Okay, so this is Cameron.
That's Cameron.
2/3.
And then Terrence divides his into 6ths.
Okay.
And he stops after running 2 of those.
Okay, so that would be right here.
Okay. Will the boys rest at the same spot in the race? Why or why not? Well,
Just
see
show
it
me
right
that.
there.
So you can see 2/3 is Cameron stopped farther, and Terrence stopped at 2 6.
So they did not stop at the same spot.
Not. All right, looks like you have one assignment problem today.
Henry and Maddie were in a pie eating contest. The pies were cut either into thirds or sixths. Henry picked up a pie cut into sixths and ate 4/6 of it in 1 minute. Maddie picked up a pie cut into thirds. What fraction of her pie did Maddie eat in 1 minute to tie with Henry?
All right, so you're gonna draw a number line on this one. And you're going to break it into thirds and sixths. Okay. And he ate what? 2/6? So
4/6. He ate
2/6. So 4/6.
4/6.
4/6. So you want to see what's equivalent to 4/6 with the thirds for what Maddie ate. And that's it.
All right.
All right. Talk to
Good
you later.
luck.
Bye.